Hey guys, double wide 6 here, and I just got this tractor. This one is a Craftsman LT 1000 in really nice shape. Another Craigslist find, and I went over to check it out, and the problem the guy was having is that it wouldn't start. So when I cranked the thing over, I noticed it was turning really fast. If you look at the flywheel, it would spin really fast and it wasn't starting. So I'll show you what that looked like. So I took a look at the flywheel. If you spin it like this and you don't feel any compression there on the power stroke, you don't have compression. So I told the guy he didn't have compression, and he wanted like $150 for it. So without compression, I told him I wasn't interested, and he said, well, what am I going to do with it? I don't want the thing. And he said, make me an offer, make me an offer. And I said, well, I can take it for free. And he said he can find anyone to take it for free. So I said, alright, I'll give you $50. So now I have another project. I either gotta figure out why we have no compression, or get a new engine for it. So I wouldn't buy a brand new one, but I can probably find something used, and so I'll probably end up storing this one and working on it over the winter. We'll see what comes up. But just a little update for you. The other reason I was willing to pay $50 is because it had a brand new battery, according to the previous owner. He just put in a battery, and that's what a lot of people do when their engines don't start and that. But I guess he could see his was cranking, so I don't know. I guess he put in a battery at the beginning of the year. And I did a little investigating here, and I pulled out the spark plug and I looked in the spark plug hole, and I noticed that the piston is not moving, hence no compression. So probably has a broken connecting rod, and I don't know, it's probably not worth fixing it. So I'll probably part out this engine, which means I'll get rid of the starter, I'll get rid of the carburetor, and probably the coil, and I don't know if anything else is worth selling. So if you want any parts on a 17.5 overhead valve Briggs & Stratton, let me know. I'll probably keep the valves and the cylinder head, because I know sometimes people have broken valves. So that's just a little update on this. I think I'll clean it up and get the engine off of it, try and figure out what's going on with it. So I guess I'm going to actually make a video today on how to remove an engine off a tractor. So if you want to buy a new engine because your engine seized or something like that, I'm going to show you how to remove it from the tractor. First thing you want to do is wash it off. You'll notice I put a bag in here in the air filter. And the reason I did that is so I could hose it off and keep all the hose water out of the carburetor. So in there it's dry as can be. So that's a little tip for you. Next thing I'm going to do is drain the oil. Time and time again I see engines that are blown, they don't have enough oil. So if you look at that, it's well below the first oil dot. So that's probably what ended up blowing up this engine. So I have a hose hooked up, we're draining the oil out. It'd be nice if the oil was hot, but I can't get it started to get the oil hot. I've disconnected the starter, and I disconnected the wires that go to the motor while I'm waiting for this to drain. Next thing I'm going to do is there's 2 bolts on the muffler. I'm going to separate the muffler from the engine, so I'll pull those 2 out. On the opposite side of the engine, you'll notice there's a Torx bolt. I'm going to loosen that up, and I should be able to slide out my throttle cable once I get that loose. And we're also going to pull off the fuel line and drain the fuel out of the tank. This particular unit does not have a fuel shutoff, so I'll be draining the tank. Well, we got out about 21 ounces of oil. It's supposed to have 48 ounces, so that probably had something to do with the problem. So everything's up top is disconnected at this point, so now we have to work underneath the tractor. So if we take a look underneath the tractor, right where the crankshaft comes down, there's a pulley here. We have a belt that drives the deck, and there's another pulley up top that you can't quite see, but up here this pulley drives the transmission. So we're going to loosen up the bolt in the middle here, and we're going to pull both these pulleys that are connected down and release the belts. If we need to, we'll have to loosen up these belt guards and get them out of the way if we can't get the belt off. But I think once we loosen it, we'll be able just to pop the belts off. So here's the double pulley. You can see there's a long bolt. This was 5/8 inch. This is for the blades, this is for the transmission, and it came right out without having to move any of the belt guards. Now the last three bolts are your engine mount bolts, and they're kind of upside down here. There's 3 of them usually on most engines, so there's 2 on this side. You might want to turn the wheel to get some of the steering linkages out of the way so that you can get up under there and take those out. It really helps if you can use a power tool to remove those, because it is a bit of a pain. And once we do that, the engine should be free from the frame. So I ran into a little hiccup. There's a pulley under here that needs to be removed in order to get to the last mounting bolt. So you're going to have to loosen up this bolt, remove this pulley, and underneath it you'll find the mounting bolt. So what you can see here is I have the engine on a 5-gallon bucket. I just drill a hole in the bucket, and that's a good way to hold your engine. I would recommend, if you're replacing an engine, to take off your engine first. That'll show you how to take off the engine in case you have to remove it from someone else's lawnmower. The other thing that it allows you to do is take the time to measure the shaft and figure out the diameter of the shaft and how long it is, so that you know if it'll match the engine that you're looking at. You could also look up the numbers. I do have a video on how to look up engines and parts for lawnmowers and tractors and stuff that you can see under my channel. The only other thing I'm going to show you here is how to measure the crankshaft. Alright, so here's how you measure the crankshaft. You're going to take a tape measure, start right at the base and go out. That looks like it's about 3 1/8, maybe 3 3/16, somewhere in between there. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a micrometer and I'm going to stick this thing on here. And it's not a C-clamp, so you just kind of get it on there just so it's touching. And then we look at the measurement on that, and it's going to be exactly 1 inch. You can see how tight that tolerance is. It's like dead on. So it's 1 inch by about 3 1/8, maybe possibly 3 3/16. So in conclusion here, is it worth it to put a new engine on your tractor? Well, if your tractor runs great and you had no other problems except the engine, maybe you want to think about it. New tractor, $1,500. Brand new engine, you can get this engine for about $450, $500 shipped right to your door. You can buy it used, anywhere between $100 and $200 used, but you'll have to take it off of their tractor probably. If they already took it off their tractor, that's a great time saver. But used engines, you know, they might smoke, might not work as long or as well. The last thing that I would recommend would be to keep the same brand engine that is on the tractor that you're replacing. Unless the tractor is made for similar engines, like some tractors are made for Kawasaki and Kohler engines, but if you keep basically the same engine or something very close, same brand, you shouldn't have a problem lining up your cables and all your plugs and your wiring and all that stuff, and you know, your pulley that goes on the bottom. all that stuff should be exact if you stick with the same engine. So if you're going to tackle this project, it's not that hard. It just takes some elbow grease, and if you have a good machine worth fixing, you could save yourself a bundle of money. Yeah, Toro runs nice. I'm double wide 6. I got a bunch of other videos up on my channel. You can check them out. Small engine, tractor, zero turn, all that good stuff. So thanks for watching.